So it is Tuesday, the 19th of January, and today we're looking at Can I Write a Dialogue? We're putting together some of the things we've learned in the last few sessions, and we're putting them all together to write a dialogue today. So, just to start us off, can you add a speech punctuation to these sentences? So year threes, we're looking at just putting speech marks in, maybe a few capital letters, and year fours, there might be a few other bits of speech punctuation you might remember to put in as well. So actually pause the video and rewrite those sentences with the speech punctuation that it needs. Okay, so you should have definitely got these first ones. So we can see we've got the speech marks here. So Ginny said, where are the flowers? Should have speech marks around with a question mark, and it should start with a capital. I haven't brought my wellies. That's got your speech marks around there. And then there's two sets of speech marks in this last one. Firstly, around I know, said mark obviously doesn't have your speech marks because that's not what he's saying. And then that's why I came also has speech marks around it. Year fours, you may have also spotted that there's some other speech punctuation you need. So you've got there a comma between the said and the start of the speech on the first one. The second one, we should end with some sort of punctuation before that speech mark there. So we've got a comma. And then the third one, you should have a comma before the speech mark on that first bit after I know. And then between mark and the second bit he's saying, you should also have a comma there. So just have a quick check. Make sure you've got all of those bits in and you've done that correctly. Okay, so today we're looking at Can I Write a Dialogue? And you've got most of the things you need in order to do that today. You've already got it. If you look back in your books, they should be there. So you should have a list of verbs you've got instead of said. So you should have some good verbs that you can use for Billy or the min pin in your dialogue. You should also have some ideas for what Billy and the min pin are thinking about asking. So some questions they have for each other. You may have also thought of some responses to those questions. So you can have an idea of the sorts of things which Billy is going to talk about with this min pin. So that's the dialogue we're writing. You've got Billy up in the tree. He's talking to this min pin. We've already got some ideas from the book about things they might be talking about, but you can again invent your own. What might Billy be saying when he sees this tiny little man who lives in the tree? And finally, the things we haven't got, the thing we're going to look at just before we start, is we haven't got any actions to go with speech. So, you know, people don't just sort of, when they have a dialogue, people don't talk, just sort of stood completely still facing each other and don't move around and don't do anything. People tend to do things while they're talking, whether it be moving their hands or doing a task or whatever it might be. So if you don't have these actions in your dialogue, it looks kind of fake. It doesn't look like it's real. Whereas if you include actions to go with it, it makes it seem a bit more real to the reader. They can imagine that they're actually witnessing these people talking. So just going to let you pause and jot down some ideas about what could Billy or the min pin be doing whilst they're talking. So have a think. Billy's sat up in the tree, isn't he? And the min pin's in his little, is sat on a branch, or he's in his little house. What sort of things might they be doing while they're talking? Have a think. So I'll just give you a little bit of time to stop the video and have a think about that. Okay, so I've got some ideas. So I'm sure your ideas are probably better than mine, but I'll give you my ideas anyway, and you might want to include them. You might not want to use them. You know, you might want to use yours instead. You might want to take some of mine. It's completely up to you. So I've got the ideas. So I think obviously looking around, I think like Billy particularly, remember that big monster was chasing him a second ago, and it's probably still down there. So you might be looking down to the ground, sort of looking around. I thought maybe scratching his head, you know, maybe he's got an itch, scratching his head, and the min pin might be thinking, maybe, I thought it's just now, but min pin's got like, I imagine him like to have a bit of a beard. I don't know whether that's in the story. I'll have to check back, but he might be stroking his beard. We've got shifting himself uncomfortably, like Billy, he's sat on this like hard branch, you know, I imagine he might be a bit uncomfortable, so he might be sort of shifting himself about. Might be a bit uncomfortable, might be sort of moving himself around to try and get comfortable. He might be fending off an ant or a beetle. So the min pins are quite small. So I imagine if there was an ant in the tree, it might be quite big to the min pins. So I imagine like the min pin, maybe there's a big ant coming along, and he's trying to sort of fend it off and send it on its way. And so there might be some sort of insect that's getting in the way. Maybe laughing to himself. The min pin seems quite a jolly fellow. So, you know, he might be like chuckling to himself or something as he's talking. Billy might be taking some leaves from his clothes, maybe he's got some like some twigs in his jumper or some leaves in his shirt, and he's just kind of sort of picking them out as he's talking. But again, loads and loads of things. They don't have to be dramatic actions, just little actions that kind of make it seem a little bit more realistic. Okay, so we're gonna have a go right in our dialogue now. I'm gonna have a go at doing it myself, and you can do that with me. And then you're going to have a go yourself. So what are we going to include? 3 things. So you want correct speech punctuation. So all of the things we learned yesterday about speech marks and commas and things like that, using all of that today. Using some actions that we've just come up with, some of those actions to go with the speech. And again, using some of those better verbs instead of said all the time. I'm not saying you can't use said, just try and not use it all the time. Try and vary that a little bit. Okay, so let's have a go. So we've got Billy couldn't believe what he had just seen. So I suggest you start with this sentence unless you've got a better one. It just lets you get into dialogue straight away. So let's have a think. So Billy couldn't believe what he had just seen. I'm gonna start straight away because this is, you know, a dialogue. I'm gonna start straight away with some speech. There's no point not going straight and say Billy couldn't believe what he had just seen. What can he ask? So what kind of things? He might just be quite shocked in the beginning. So he might be like who are you? Might be just a simple question like that. Who are you? And I imagine, let's change that into like one of these things where you put a dash. So he's like saying, who are you? Like he's a bit shocked, isn't he? Who are you? Stammered. Who are you? Stammered Billy, comma, and then we're going to have an action. He might be, because he's quite shocked, isn't he? Staring wide-eyed at the little old man or the little man? The little old man, let's have that. Who are you? Stammered Billy, staring wide-eyed at the little old man. Then I'll start a new line because there's a new person speaking. So I'm going to have my min pin replying. Actually, what I might do is I might put the action first. So I might say I don't know if I just refer to him as the min pin all the time. The tiny old man laughed to himself. Let's have that. Laughed to himself quietly and stroked his scruffy white beard. Then I'm going to have him speaking. Now, because our attention's on the little old man, I don't need to start a new line because we're already thinking about this, the man. The tiny man laughed to himself quietly and stroked his scruffy white beard. Why? We're the min pins, and we live in this forest. He's going to say something like, well, because like this person just turned up in his tree out of nowhere. It's like if an alien came down and landed on Earth. Like, and then the alien went to you. Who are you? What are you? You know, and be shocked about you being here. You'd be more like, well, hang on, you're the one who's come from nowhere. So why? We're the Minions, and we live in this forest. I should be asking who you are. I should be asking who you are! Exclamation mark. He's quite like, and I'm going to emphasize, I'm going to put that in italics. So I should be asking who you are. That's what he says there. Then we're going to go on to Billy. So Billy's going to reply, new line, because it's Billy now. He's going to say, what could he say? He's just going to be like, well, I'm Billy. But he's going to be quite like, he doesn't really know what to say, because what do you say when someone says like, who are you? It's a bit hard. So he's going to say, well, because he's quite shocked. Is he going to call himself Billy or Little Billy? I'm Little Billy. I think he might be so used to his mum calling him that he almost refers to himself like, well, I'm little Billy. He said no. Well, I'm little Billy. He said I've already said stammered. I wonder if the thesaurus has got anything for stammered. I don't know what. He's hesitated. He paused. He spluttered. That's a good one. He spluttered. Oh no, let's change that one. Oh, actually, let's have that as spluttered then. Who are you, spluttered Billy? He stammered. There you go. Oh, well, I'm little Billy, he stammered, comma, not knowing what to say, because he doesn't really know what to say. And then straight away, because he doesn't really know what to say, the Minpin's going to come back with something straight away, and he's going to say, one of the questions he's going to say, how did you get so big? Or, how did you get so big? That seems a bit strange thing to say. Why are you so big? I'm little Billy stammered, not knowing what to say. Why, we're the Minpins. We live in this house. I should be asking who you are. Oh, well, I'm little Billy, he stammered, not knowing what to say. Oh, yes, because he called himself Little Billy. Perfect. So the Minpin's going to go emphasize Little Billy, exclamation mark. Little Billy. Why? Is that some kind of joke? You're huge. I think I do want to say something like, why'd you get so big? But I just feel like this Minpin's, he's going to be quite polite. I think he would think that was a bit rude just to go, why are you so big? Or you're huge. Little Billy, why? Is that some kind of joke? You're the biggest boy I ever saw. He's going to say something weird. I just get the feeling he's going to say something like, or blow me down with a feather, or something weird like that. Little Billy, why, is that some kind of joke? You're the biggest boy I ever saw. Or cut off my beard. I stole this from somewhere. And knit it into a jumper. A jumper. Exclamation mark. Now, you think I've just come up with that. Of course, I haven't. I've stolen that. Where my son, I read stories at nighttime, and he's got one that's called, it's Jack and the Beanstalk. And when Jack gets the magic beans from the old man, the old man goes, he says, are they really magic? And the old man goes, oh, magic they are, or cut off my beard and knit it into a jumper. So I stole that, and you're welcome to steal it as well. You're the biggest boy I ever saw, or cut off my beard and knit it into the jumper. He exclaimed, comma, what could he be doing? He exclaimed, I've had him laughing to himself. He exclaimed, maybe he's even like sort of tapping the window frame, like with laughter, or maybe not. In your jumper, he exclaimed, he exclaimed, lighting a small pipe which he had produced from seemingly nowhere. We'll stop. All right, Billy couldn't believe what he'd just seen. Who are you? Spluttered Billy. Oh, I repeated Billy twice there. Who are you? He spluttered. We want really, don't we? Billy couldn't believe what he'd just seen. Who are you? He spluttered, staring wide-eyed at the little old man. The tiny old man laughed to himself quietly and stroked his scruffy white beard. I don't want to repeat old again. Let's just have a tiny man. The tiny man laughed to himself quietly and stroked his scruffy white beard. Why, we're the Minpins. We live in this forest. I should ask who you are. Well, I'm little Billy, he stammered, not knowing what to say. Little Billy? Why, is that some kind of joke? You're the biggest boy I ever saw. Cut off my beard and knit it into a jumper, he exclaimed, lighting a small pipe which he produced from seemingly nowhere. I think the Minpin's going to say something else. How did you get to such a size? The reason I've added that in is because I think now it makes it easier to say what Billy's going to say. Because at the moment, Billy's quite shocked, and I'm not sure, like if he just said that, he would know what to say. But if I have to ask him a question, it makes it easy for me to write my next bit. How did you get to such a size? And Billy's going to say, well, he's really confused. Well, he began, what could he be doing? Oh, picking some, oh no, let's have him shifting, because he is a bit uncomfortable. Shifting uncomfortably. Shifting uncomfortably on the branch, comma, speech marks. Well, he began shifting uncomfortably on the branch. I guess I've always been this way. Full stop. I thought I was quite small. Full stop. No, dot, because he's paused, dot. I'm much smaller than my mum anyway, exclamation mark, speech mark. Brilliant. And that leads on to the min pin then, and he's going to be quite shocked as well. So yeah, I think I'll leave that there. So you can steal anything you want from me. Obviously yours will go on a little bit longer, but you get the idea. So yeah, I'll just leave you with that. That's the end of today's session. So it should take you about 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer today, just to write your dialogue. And I look forward to seeing some of those on Dojo.